The Cardinal had censored and suppressed my assigned article about Occupy Louisville instead of my piece, which had quoted a lot of local politicians, including the mayor, D. Riley, the lieutenant governor, candidate for lieutenant governor, and the Metro Police. And I focused on the local Occupy Louisville movement. Instead, the Cardinal decided to go with a generic article about Occupy Wall Street. And so that ignored the local movement completely. And even though the Courier-Journal, Leo Weekly, Amy Goodman's Democracy Now!, and Steve Bergen covered it, but I don't think he actually supports it.
What do you think about the Occupy Louisville? No comment? Okay. He did support the 99% though.
Steve Bergen, WLKY, asked questions about Louisville's permits. Says that the Tea Party says that they're playing favorites because the Tea Party had, I guess, paid more money. And then the occupation
for more than 56 years.
Louisville had actually.
Or you need the right loan at the lowest monthly payment.
Fucking Bob Hook.
And when you're looking to find that car or truck you can't find anywhere else.
Fat you are.
On the web at bobhook.com.
Okay.
About the 2.5-month-long special event permit issued to Occupy Louisville. Members of the Tea Party believe the Metro government gave the protesters a big break. WLKY's Steve Bergen has been investigating. He joins us now with what he's found. Steve?
Vicki, according to a spokesperson for Metro Works, that's not the case. Though Lindsay English says the permit request was unusual. Occupy Louisville continues its occupation of Jefferson Square. For several days, the group operated without a permit. Now Occupy Louisville has been given the okay to camp out until 2012.
It's kind of uncharted waters just because there really hadn't been requests put in for permits.
Lindsay English, Metro Public Works.
You know, I just question kind of the process that they went through to get that.
Lindy Caswell helped organize this one-day Tea Party event in Jefferson Square in April of 2010. Caswell says to get a permit, the Tea Party had to obtain a $1 million liability policy, provide security and medical personnel.
One group gets a permit for $40 for months on end, and for a one-day event for us, we spend almost $3,000.
Occupy Louisville did not have to buy an insurance policy.
What a bunch of babies. You Tea Partiers are babies.
And its permit application says it has trained medical teams to handle emergencies until EMS arrives.
That's right.
Metro Works spokesperson Lindsay English says
I'm certified.
they try to accommodate all groups.
We try to work with them and kind of walk them through and see what we can do to accommodate their needs. And that's what we did with Occupy Louisville.
English says it took 3 applications before Occupy Louisville was given a permit. Now the group will have to move out of Jefferson Square for a week next month for the Light Up Louisville celebration. Steve Bergen, WLKY News.
Yeah. They've all been given the local Occupy Louisville movement coverage, so why hasn't the Cardinal? In the 4th or 5th censored Cardinal article that Bailey had suppressed, U of L students would have learned that Louisville's Mayor Fisher does not endorse nor oppose Occupy Louisville. The group has recently moved from the downtown spot to 5th and Muhammad Ali, which Jason Whirlwind says would be best. Chris Pointer, the Deputy Communications Director for Mayor Fisher, also added that the group has been respectful and a good caretaker of the park. Russ Cosgrove read a statement voted and approved by Occupy Louisville's General Assembly that said, "We will continue to occupy Louisville so that the common voice of the people is heard loudly in these halls until such time as we are convinced its reverberations will continue indefinitely without our presence." Alicia Smiley of the Louisville Metro Police Department says that as a taxpayer-funded government agency, it is the job of the Louisville Metro Police Department, LMPD, to enforce the laws of the Commonwealth, including the right to free speech, as defined by the constitutions of the United States and the state of Kentucky. As such, we do not comment or offer personal opinions on political activities. Sarah Kelly, the editor of Leo Weekly, went on record and said that the mainstream media is more inclined to cover the spectacle of the protest and not the substance of them. D. Riley, a candidate for Lieutenant Governor of Kentucky, also found that the media had got it wrong with the description of the participants in the Occupy Wall Street movement in Lexington. D. Riley had wrote that the average age was well above 40 and the educational and employment level were advanced. Kelly acknowledges that a coherent message is missing, but she says that's because that there's just too many criticisms. Local Teamsters, Local 783, and Jonathan Dooley's Amalgamated Transit Union said that they are in solidarity with Occupy Louisville and that they have been in talks with them and that they've rallied with them. Sarah Kelly, the editor of Leo Weekly, doesn't believe that the Leo Weekly is influenced by corporations because of their distinct line between editorial and advertising departments. Kelly, however, can see corporate influence when it comes to public officials. Kelly says that even the good public officials are reluctant to support the Occupy Wall Street movement because of corporate influence, and that's both political parties. Kelly pointed out that John Yarmouth, a U.S. Congressman for Kentucky, here in the Louisville area, has voiced his support for the Occupy Wall Street movement. John Yarmouth used to own Leo Weekly in 2003. Dee Riley is enthusiastic about the Occupy Wall Street movement coming to Kentucky. She fully supports anyone that exerts their First Amendment rights of assembly. She also believes that countless victims have been created by corporations and financial institutions who are supported by elected officials who personally benefit from biased policies. According to the lieutenant governor candidate, in my opinion, the Occupy Wall Street movement is not that much unlike the original Tea Party movement. Although each are moving on a different trajectory, they are headed towards the same destination of change and greater inclusion of the public voice. It's long overdue the American public come to life. Occupy Wall Street is the first step in restoring the public to their rightful authority in government. Sarah Kelly believes the goals of the movement are too lofty, such as fighting corporate greed. She believes it's too big of an issue, and that the movement is starting to lose focus. However, Kelly is hopeful that the movement will spark change and get the attention of the media and the politicians to let them know that the public is not happy with the system as is. So when Gatewood blames the media, he's correct. The lamestream media intentionally censored him. Gatewood got one little paragraph in the Cardinal. The lamestream media's fear of standing up to a corrupt administration is why 75% of college students don't vote. Even Jake Payne of Page One called Gatewood Gateweed, and then he pretended like he wasn't biased. The Cardinal are corporate gatekeepers, and they tell themselves by not the boring crap that they print, by the exciting things that they omit. The SGA figured out with the Cardinal that you got to treat the media like mushrooms. You keep them in the dark and you feed them a bunch of shit. It's odd how the Cardinal doesn't have a response for why they have been blackballing SGA and blacking them out when the Cardinal doesn't cover the real news and they don't care to give us the truth. They are first and foremost a business. Their stories are only decorations for their corporate advertisers. So instead of offering the student relevant information on how to get the most out of college, they tend to chase the sensational and bloody crap to exploit others' misery and conflict in order to get a large audience share, to be able to sell lots of ads. So they expect you to answer their questions, but they don't answer ours. And it's also a good reason that they wanted us to go into the Ville Grill, because it would give them a better photo opportunity. So there's a clear bias when it comes to covering this protest versus the Brash and Berry protesters. The Brash and Berry protesters have been shown up and protesting Jimmy John's in Cardinal Town next to the Betty Johnson Hall for weeks now. And the Cardinal hasn't mentioned them once.
What are we protesting for? What are we protesting for? Labor unions? Labor unions? Yeah. I'm with you guys, believe me.
The Cardinal won't print anything about the Brash and Berry protesters, and why not? Is it because the Cardinal is corporate run and controlled, and therefore they're trying to protect Jimmy John's legacy and namesake? Is it because the Brash and Berry protesters are African Americans? Jimmy John's has clearly pissed somebody off, and somebody ought to get to the bottom of it. And it makes me wish that I, as a U of L student, had an independent student newspaper that wasn't afraid to ask the establishment the hard questions. Also, print journalism is outdated. The Cardinal won't run this story until 1 week and 1 day after it has already happened. And I got it up the next day. That's the Student Walkout. That's the newscast on the Student Walkout. I'm Johnny Masters, reporting just for the fuck of it. Peace.